Okay, and we are live.
Hello
Hi,
there.
Yvette.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Super excited to be here.
Yes, this is a great day. Just a bit, so, we've been talking a lot and planning a lot on our reset program, but everywhere I come across people, they start asking me, what is this reset all about? I feel everybody needs to listen to it. And so I thought, well, let's just come on and discuss a little bit from our own experiences, how we both decided, that reset is a must and that everybody needs to listen to this and sign in for the program.
Definitely. And well, if you want me to just start a little bit, what is reset all about? I think everybody gets to a point in life where you go, well, what I've been doing is not working, so I need to try something else. And I can speak for both you and me. We had that same situation. As pharmacists, you know drugs, medicine, and everybody thinks you should be perfectly healthy and you should know what to do and take. But when you start practicing and using all the guidelines you are given and you're not feeling any better, that's when you go, okay, hang on, 1 and 1 is not equal to 2 here. And I can relate. About 10 years ago, I remember waking up one morning, getting out of bed thinking, I'm 43 years old. I think I was 43, 44 years old. And I'm like, my mother was in her 70s and she could do more than I could. What is wrong? Why am I hurting? Why do my feet hurt? Why do my staff in the pharmacy have to open the bottles for me? Because my hands wouldn't close. And that was a big wake-up call for me. And that was time for reset. So when you start digging in and delving and you just want to find a better way for you. So fast forward. Now, I did find a better way. I did have to retrain my brain. I had to change many things, which we'll cover a lot of those things in our summit about reset. But the one thing is you've got to change things that go in you, that are around you, and that what you put on you. And that was a big wake-up call for me. And I cannot, thank the Lord for the change that it's brought in my life and feeling much healthier, stronger, no aches and pains 10 years later. So that is what, if you want to reset and not just turn around, walk the other way, do something else, why not?
And I have to agree with you. I remember myself that in everybody's journey, there comes that point where something's got to change. For me, I remember I always wore shoes with laces. And one morning I bent down to tie the laces of my shoes. And I came back up and I'm winded. I'm tying my shoes. I'm still on my way to work. I'm not supposed to feel this tired. I tell you, it was, and I thought, and for me personally, my journey started, but I followed all the guidelines, did everything that I should, started exercising like a crazy person, doing hours of cardio even before I went to work. And you know what?
For 12 hours.
Yep. And it didn't do anything. And I thought, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing everything that the doctor said, everything that we've been taught in pharmacy school, still no improvement. And and we've been kind of on the same journey and the same mindset, learning and learning new things about, and like you said, retraining your brain. I always came a time where I thought, oh no, this cannot work. It's not supposed to work because that's not what we've been taught. And like the good scientists that we are, experimented on ourselves and thought, I actually do feel better. My stomach is flatter. But a big thing for me, and about my blood sugar journey, we have a blood sugar monitor just because I like to check it from time to time. And following all the guidelines, doing all, even fat diets and stuff, just in order to try and get my blood sugar, my fasting blood sugar below 130. It was for me almost impossible. I would fast for 36 hours and my blood sugar will still be high, which was weird. You know, that is strange.
Yeah.
Started, and then obviously I heard about body composition and the things that we talked about, and implementing wasn't easy because I had to adjust, my whole body had to adjust. But now, at the back end of this, I feel so much better. I actually feel younger than what I did 10 years ago.
Well, just to add on for you, I wanted to read something here that I came across. It says, we are currently facing one of the worst epidemics in modern history. Chronic disease has become so commonplace that it is considered normal to that part of our lifestyle. You know, I come across so many patients in all my years in retail, and people would say, well, you know, I'm lucky, I'm just on 3 medicines. And I'm thinking, what does that make normal? Since when did that get into our lives, that I'm only on 3 drugs, I'm only on 5? Well, I'm not like my friend. She's on 25 and I'm only on 15. So
oh man,
what happened in our life that we thought that we have a deficiency of drugs? So that was a big wake-up call for me. And I mean, there's so many chronic diseases and things that are just rampant, and the age groups are getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
And for me,
True.
one of the biggest wake-up calls was when I can't remember, but there's a book I read about, you know, like what's in the food, because coming to America, eating the same way and not feeling well, I soon realized, okay, hang on. The one thing that's changed is what is in our food.
Yeah.
And when you tackle the pantry and you start looking at everything, and it goes high fructose corn syrup and seed oils and more high fructose corn syrups in foods that are healthy. So
Yeah.
when you take that big box, you know, the one you get at Costco, and you load everything in and you throw it out, your pantry is empty. And then you start realizing, okay, now I got to make a change. So
Yeah.
the biggest shift, I think, is getting that as
Yes.
a brain shift. And you and I both know, we constantly say, how can this work? And then we've made changes and it works. So we've little by little had to step back on certain things that we believed and that we were taught. But I also must say, I went back to a lot of stuff that I was taught that was correct, because we came from a very good pharmacy school. So it was literally just getting the brain washed out again.
Very true. You know, and so many people talk about, it's almost, I want to say, the new type of science that people get taught through the general media does not make sense with our body human physiology.
Yeah.
It totally does not match.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go look at your biology and your physiological responses to things, your body is made to do certain things. It's not, like you said, diabetes is not a metformin deficiency. That is certainly not. And, you know, if you cut certain pathways off with a drug, there's things downstream that your body needs that's now not going to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you feel worse after you start taking drugs, many times it kind of makes sense. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes prescription drugs can be life-saving to some people.
Oh, totally. I would never, ever say that doesn't have a place. You're right, 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the question you and I asked, because we are trained to counsel people, we have to counsel them by law. And one thing we've learned in our functional medicine practice is by asking people, the first thing always is, have you ever been told to change your diet?
Yeah.
And my honest opinion would be 99.9% of people would say, no. Why would I?
Yeah.
Well, you've done what yeah. So maybe you should do something different.
True. You know, and Yvette, there is my opinion also about reset. I think many people's doctors would love to sit down for an hour with them and
yes.
talk to them about lifestyle and all these things that they as doctors were told to enforce on patients, but they don't have the time for it.
No,
When the people come in the pharmacy and talk to me about their prescription drugs, I have another 100 prescriptions waiting for me. I don't have the time to sit down with them for an hour either. And I feel Reset is really going to bring all that knowledge that we as medical professionals want to spend that hour with you, going to bring it together and hold your hand and help people go through the process of changing their lives.
well, that's why we also said it's an interactive program.
Yes.
So there's homework, because we want you to be part of seeing what's going on and how you can change it. And like you just said, the person that comes up to you and you ask for counseling, you really don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what's going on. You don't have, first of all, time. Second, you don't have the history or anything. So it would be an absolute amazing opportunity for us where we're going to be interactive. We're going to have questions and answers. So people can come forward and nobody is going to have a stupid question. We had many of those.
Yep.
And we will find an answer. And like Johann and I will be the first to admit, if we don't know it, we will find out.
Very, very true. There's no truer words. And like I say, we will find out if we don't know the answer. And, you know, sometimes if we can't find the answer, we might even be able to point you in the right direction.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I mean, our biggest thing is to help, like the word reset, you know, start over, make a 180, turn in a different direction. That's what our heart's desire is.
Very, very true. You know, this nothing would make me happier if one day we can get 1,000 people signed up for Reset and we can change their lives.
Exactly. It would be phenomenal. I get asked every day in my daily life, like, how can I go? Who can help me with this?
Yeah.
So if you know a friend, or if you have a parent, a sister, a brother, anybody that really, you see they're battling, they're not feeling well.
Yeah.
And, you know, not everybody shares stuff with that. Point them in the right direction and we will certainly help.
Absolutely. I so agree. You know, and if you know somebody who has those questions, and if you've even, you know, sometimes people just need a suggestion made to them. Point them to this live on Facebook, let them watch it, and they can decide for themselves if they want to sign up. But
Yep.
Time is running out. April 1st is the deadline, you know, because we have a process in place that we need to follow. So please, guys, if you know of somebody who still needs to be in this group, I really think now is the time. And don't be selfish and leave the information just to for yourself.
Share it.
Sometimes people are afraid to ask.
Very much.
So then you just have to make the suggestion to them.
Well, I just say
Well,
my
it's
question for people to ask themselves is, would you like to feel better? And if your answer is yes, sign up in our group.
For sure. No doubt about it. Very much for the time you spent. I know we're both busy, so get off of here. And if you saw this video, if you saw a replay of it, tag someone, get it into someone's face. Let's sign people up for Reset, because this is going to be a life-changing event.
It sure is. Thank you, Johann.
Thank you, Yvette. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.